We are back with a recap of the Blue Jackets getting absolutely walloped against the Devils in New Jersey. The final score ended up being 7-1. It was 6-1. Then it went to the bathroom, came back. It was 7-1. Didn't even bother to figure out how or why that happened. It didn't matter at that point. It was getting late in the third, and I was once if it becomes 6, it might as well become 7-1. Sure, whatever. This is the third straight game that the team has gotten absolutely ran out of whatever building they're playing in, whether it be Nationwide Arena or this game in New Jersey. And this is their second 3-game losing streak already, 10 games into the season. Yikes. The Devils, they're on a really good start to the season. This win puts them in the lead in the Metro for now. I don't care. This team has not been competitive again. I just want this team to be competitive against teams that are being good right now, and they're not even doing that. They got blown out by the Coyotes. I don't know what happened after the Rangers game, because in the Rangers game they played a pretty consistent 60-minute game, and then since then it's just been nothing. There's been no signs of sustained life from this team. It's just been they're sleepwalking out there. That's what it looks like. I'm not going to try to say that they're not putting effort in and they're not trying, but it just looks like their opponents are playing on a different plane of hockey than this team is right now. If Justin Danforth and Nick Blankenburg are the only guys that were keeping this train moving as far as keeping the momentum for the Jackets and keeping them energized and fully into the game, then that's a problem, because those are guys that the organization probably doesn't see as long-term fits with the Blue Jackets when things really get serious, when they want to be a Stanley Cup playoff team consistently and actually start contending and competing for more glamorous things in the league. I don't think they see Justin Danforth and Nick Blankenburg as long-term pieces in those teams, because Danforth, an older guy who's only signed to a 2-year contract right now, and Nick Blankenburg, you would think if these prospects hit like they're going to, and some of the contracts that the Jackets have already, Blankenburg is going to be the odd man out eventually, one of these years, just not this year. This has gone beyond just having a bad start or just getting a little having to catch your footing out of the gate. You're now 10 games in. They're 3-7, and they've had one full 60-minute game where they've looked good throughout the entire game, and that's not good enough. It's not good enough for this team, where even if you didn't think they were, even if you thought they were still away from the playoffs, you want them to be at least scoring more than they are. You want the power play to have a goal. You don't want the power play to have a negative goal differential. Again, another game where the power play is fruitless. I think they're like 0 for 25, 0 for 26, something like that. I shouldn't be sitting at the power play after 10 games and saying 0 for anything. They should have at least one. And I know a couple goals came right after the power play. You have 25 of them. Get one on one that actually counts for the power play. Just get one, and then we wouldn't be having this conversation. It would be like, oh, they only have one. Only having one is better than having 0 and having a negative goal differential on the power play. That's just not acceptable. This is not acceptable. It's not good. It's not anything. The team was flat throughout the entire game, although Elvis in the first period was very good. The rest of the game, not so much, although he looked hurt. As the game got later on, he was shaking his hand in the second period. He was visited by the trainer, Mike Vaught. I think that's how you pronounce it, Mike Voigt, whatever. He was visited by him. They talked for 5 minutes. Elvis was double leaning over. I don't know what was going on with him, but something seemed to be ailing him. Especially, you could tell in the third period where he was on that Jesper Bratt goal. He kind of went down to try to save it. It goes in, and he takes a while to get up. Maybe that's just because he was dejected by how the game was going, but it does seem like it was something physically ailing him. And if he's hurt and you can see that he's doubling over, why play him? You have a backup goalie there. And a healthy goalie, even if he wasn't hurt, they usually get pulled in these kind of games where it's a blowout and it's 5-1 and nothing's going right for your team. Usually they get pulled. Maybe Elvis was like, I want to stay in for this one. I don't know what the communication was. I'm not on the ice. It just seems a little weird that Elvis was out there for the full game while appearing to be at least struggling with some injury. Maybe not enough to keep him off of the ice, but he didn't seem to be at 100%. Fully there. There was one scrum involving Elvis near the end of the second period that I thought, hey, maybe the team wakes up. The game was 1-3 at that point. It's not like it was completely out of reach. They hadn't looked they hadn't looked like they could sustain any life, but maybe they could use this opportunity as a way to get the team going. It's a 4-on-4, and they immediately give up a goal. It was another bad goal give up by Elvis, where it hits his glove, it goes off, and it goes in. And also not great defense to let somebody walk right in. I think it was Nico Heischer on that one. They just walked right in and get a shot on Elvis. Elvis should have stopped it, but there's somebody should have been on him defensively there as well. I think that one was off Andrew Peak turnover, trying to get the puck to Johnny Gaudreau. That's why he was in all alone. So, in a bad play in the D zone, a bad goal to go up for Elvis, just horrible. And Chinakhov had a goal where he had time and space. It was a nice snipe. We know that Chinakhov has a wicked shot if you do give him that opportunity, and he showed it. And I feel like that could have revamped the team as well. They just didn't seize on that momentum. They had just gone down 3-0, but then you get that goal back. It was still pretty early in the second. It's totally possible to get 2 more goals in that time span, especially with some of the goaltending that the Devils have been getting as of late. They've been on a good start, but their goaltending has been a little shaky to start. So maybe you feel like you get another goal in the second period, maybe build up momentum into the third. Instead, nothing happens, and they end the game with the 1 goal that Chinakhov gave them. And this team is all in a bad sort right now. This team has some days off to get some rest, and then a back-to-back against the reigning Stanley Cup champions and the Colorado Avalanche. So I guess another reality check for this Blue Jackets team to see if they can recover from this or not. It's not a good matchup against the Avalanche. It's going to be in Finland. It's where Patrick Laine, Korpisalo is planning on making the trip, so it's where both of them are from, as well as general manager Jarmo Kekalainen, obviously. So if they don't look good, if they have 2 more awful showings in Finland against the Avalanche, you have to figure maybe this team starts making some tough decisions involving people behind the bench, or if they try to shuffle something around with the lineup. I don't know what they do at this point. They seem pretty locked in. I don't even know who they would go after if they do this. And I know that everybody says, oh, well, just fire Brad Larson and then everything will get better. Who do you replace him with? Fire Brad Larson and bring in who? I know the probably answer is, well, just get Trotz. Barry Trotz is not coming here. He's not. And even if he did, do you think this team all of a sudden becomes like a playoff contender if Barry Trotz comes in? No, that would take a while. That would take a steady turnaround, at least I would think. And again, Barry Trotz is not going to come here if he's been probably fielding teams from every NHL teams that he's been fielding calls from any NHL team that needs a head coach, and he told them all no. I'm taking the year off so far, and I don't see what if the Columbus Blue Jackets making him change his mind anytime soon. So again, I feel like this is just a bad start, and unless we see something change drastically for the Blue Jackets coming up pretty quickly, I don't see how you turn this around and get into firm playoff position. I think you just it seems like they're just playing out the string. I don't know what they do, because again, I'm not seeing it consistently. Like I've said earlier, we've only seen 1 full 60-minute performance from this team in 10 games, and I think that just goes beyond just having a rough start. And I don't know what they do after this. I don't have, they don't pay me for ideas. The team isn't hired me to fix anything, and I don't have any good suggestions for them either, because you look at the roster, Laine's back, the power play is there. And again, I know people say, well, look, Brad Larson has been running the power play for years and it stunk, so they should get rid of him. That's fair. That's a fair assessment, that if you feel like Brad Larson should be let go based on how the power play is performing, I'm not going to disagree with you. But again, who do you replace him with? The coaching feels like it's been subpar throughout the entire lineup. If the solution is going to come from in-house, I don't think it's going to be any better. And who do you get from outside that's not Barry Trotz, because he's not coming? I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure what the Jackets' plan is, except for just kind of try to brute force this season and hope for a turnaround within the building. That's the best they can hope for. So thank you all for watching. If you did end up making it this far, please feel free to leave a like and a subscribe if you liked the video. Leave a comment if you have something to say. And thank you again for watching. I will see you at the next one.